Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome tonight for the first ever edition of the Logie Podcast, your host, Logan Hewitt.
What's up, Dad? Okay, welcome to the first ever Logan Hewitt Podcast. This is the first ever podcast. Gonna have my favorite person in the world here, my dad, on the podcast. First podcast, favorite person, number one on top. Now,
Hey, before we get into our takes on some professional sports stuff, I feel like we got to address the fellas here because they've been really riding you about 2K. So let's talk about 2K.
oh shit.
Now listen, the big thing they're giving you a hard time about is they say, especially on defense, you're going for the steal every time. It's kind of like the way you play real basketball. You can't keep doing that. They're going to start calling you Harry Singh. You remember the old Frederick point guard that used to go for a back pick and a steal every time, and then anytime he didn't get it, they'd just get an easy layup and drive into the paint and kick it, and it was leaving like 5-on-3 to defend or 5-on-4. So you can't go for a steal every time. So you can't go for a steal every time.
I'm basically a Conan.
Now, the other thing that the fellas need to realize, okay, listen guys, you're young, okay, but I'm gonna
This is not dedicated to the fellas. Other people are gonna. Ow!
I'm gonna spill some wisdom here for the fellas real quick though. You're gonna deal with some adversity in life. You're gonna have road partners, teammates, colleagues, whatever. You gotta work with them. You gotta come through adversity. You gotta make them better. You gotta work with them and reap the rewards down the road. All right. Let's get to it. Let's get to it.
Now today's
We're not doing it. Go.
for my episode.
Go.
And today's, ladies and gentlemen, NBA boom or bust.
Ooh, okay, let's go. We got 3 of them.
No, I don't get three. I don't get three. Shoot, we're gonna do the first 3 every single day. We're gonna get 3 done. Today, we are going to go AJ Dubins.
Boom. He's a versatile, dynamic playmaker. He can score at multiple levels. I think he's going to be able to defend in the NBA. I think he's got a dog mentality. I think his game translates.
I think he'll be decent, but I think his team is gonna carry him. He'll be a decent guy to build off. I don't think he'll be like a Luka or LeBron or maybe as explosive as AD. But I think he'll be better than AD in the long run, just because he'll have better stats overall because he won't be as injured as AD, because he's kind of unreliable in that sense of injury. We have Darren Peterson.
Bust.
Yeah,
I think he's a little soft defensively, or not defensively, mentally. Talented kid, but I think in the NBA, obviously he was good enough to come up, but I think what I saw with him from his one season at KU, I'd much rather the Carlos Boozers, the Debanstas, the ones that show up come hell or high water for their teammates. And when you go to war, you need to know your brother's going to be beside you, and I don't know that was somebody like him.
Yeah, I mean, I do agree. He's a little bit of soft mentally. I think he'll be like a John Morant in the NBA.
Okay.
John Morant is a boom, but he had a first All-NBA team. That's the main reason why he's a boom. I think John Morant's plays not that much, but if he played more, he could definitely be in the Hall of Fame. I think if Darren Peterson actually gets on the court, doesn't get in trouble like Ja, I think he's kind of like a Ja situation. He'll be like the John Morant of the draft this year. So I will say boom, just because I think he's got a lot of upside. Do I think he could be the worst top 3 pick? Definitely. But do I think he could be the best top pick? Yes, I do. It just depends on how the ceiling falls and everything. He's gotta be after it his first year. After that, he could settle down a little bit, get a little bit more comfortable. But if he has a good first rookie year, folks, we could be in for a Darren Peterson show. He's gonna possibly be like a Dylan Harper coming off the bench. And we have the third overall pick, the last one of the day for NBA boom or bust. Cameron Boozer.
Definite boom.
Not a definite boom. He'll be decent.
He's a solid NBA player. He'll have a 15-year career. Put up,
I don't think
15 and 10 type numbers. He comes from
20 and 10.
NBA bloodlines. Very mature for his age. Another young man that only had 1 year in college, but I think at least mentally and even physically is kind of ready for the NBA game. Had a dynamic season at Duke, led them to, I believe it was the regional final. And I just don't see a lot of holes in his game. Well-rounded player, and I think he's going to be a really good contributor pretty much from day one. I think he's ready to roll and contribute.
He's on a young team, so I mean, I think they're not looking to build around him. They're trying to build young talent. I think Cameron Boozer will help Memphis be like okay. I think he'll just make them better than if he wasn't on the team. I'll say he's a boom because he'll be like a team contributor, getting rebounds. Him and Zach Edey are gonna get all the rebounds. I think with him and Zach Edey, they're gonna get most of the boards. They have Cedric Coward. They're looking okay on young talent, to say the least. But yeah, I think the Grizzlies will have a few years to develop. But once Cameron Boozer decides that he's got years to develop, he'll be very good in the NBA, I think. So the next topic we are going to talk about is bottom half or top half teams. Now, this is going to be very controversial because you guys might think differently than what we think. So I'm going to say a team, he's going to say boom or bust, and we're going to see. And now we are going to start off with Los Angeles Clippers.
I'm going to say bottom half. I do think they're going full rebuild. They're going young. They got Wagler. They got some young pieces. I think they're heading in the right direction for a rebuild. They got some good core pieces to build around. But I think they're going to have some growing pains for a couple years.
I think they have I feel like they could be like a in the play-in tournament team. You know what I mean? They're bottom half of the West, but I think they'll still find a way to get in the play-in tournament, and then the year after that, they can be a solid young team. So they did trade for Brandon Ingram. He is younger than Kawhi, but he's still 28, 29 years old. Why do you think they traded for Brandon Ingram besides like the skill, even though they were trying to go full rebuild? Wouldn't that have just it would just make like a younger vet, basically?
I mean, if you got to have a few veterans on your team, and if to have a 28-year-old veteran with something like 9 or 10 years in the league.
He's been in LA before.
I think that he's a guy that can kind of lead some of the young guys, but yeah, I think Brandon Ingram's your best player, and you got mostly young guys.
Darius Garland.
Again, they have some solid players, but I just don't see that being
I do agree.
a team ready to win more than 30, 35 games.
I think this team probably isn't going to win the West, but they could certainly have an okay seed. So I think they could possibly get to the semifinals, and then the year after that they'll be scary good. The Portland Trailblazers.
Yeah, the Blazers are young, dynamic, versatile, athletic. John Morant is an interesting fit there. With Lillard and some of the other pieces they have there in Scoot. I don't know how that's going to gel and jive, but certainly they've got some depth there. They had a solid season last year, and I think, again, if chemistry and things permitting.
Damian Lillard wasn't healthy.
Well, we'll see. Again, I think there's some duplicative parts there, but we'll see how they do.
In my opinion, I think John Morant was a boom. I mean, I get it. They weren't giving up a ton because he hasn't played much, but still getting that little for a superstar like John Morant, just unreal. And I think Damian Lillard's gonna help him in the locker room. The Memphis Grizzlies have a bunch of young, exciting guys on their team. No one to really help out John Morant, so I think he'll have more veteran leadership on the Portland Trail Blazers. They're like a good mix between young and old. They got backup veterans that have proven themselves in the league, but they also have guys who are good locker room guys as well. So I think John Morant, if he plays, which I think he will because of the veteran locker room dynamic of the Portland Trail Blazers, he will be a boom on the team, and the Portland Trail Blazers could possibly end up winning the West and being one of the sneaky teams this year. Though I do think there are a lot scarier teams in the West, but it's just like an outlook team. Let's see, a team in the East. The Boston Celtics, Paul George, which I think would be, Paul George is decent. He averages like 26 and 5 a game, which isn't bad.
They're probably top half. I'd expect them to be in the playoffs. Probably, maybe,
Like a 4,
probably
5,
a
6.
Louisville